An expose of his BRICS summit speech. Every word, every silence, every deception laid bare. He smiled. He spoke gently. He quoted peace, sovereignty, partnership, and justice. But while President Cyril Ramaphosa charmed foreign cameras at the BRICS summit in Rio de Janeiro in July 2025, his nation continued to burn behind him, broken, leaderless, and betrayed. This was not the speech of a leader protecting his people. It was not the voice of a man defending South Africa's interest. It was the performance of a global servant, a man who has pledged his loyalty to foreign powers while abandoning the people who elected him. Ramaphosa has become a double-tongued deceiver, offering one face to the world and another to the nation. He speaks nobly in public while operating in shadows. He praises justice while enabling corruption. He calls for peace while turning a blind eye to daily violence on our streets. This expose unpacks every word he spoke in Rio, matched to timestamps from the official speech, and reveals how he has positioned himself against his own people. He is not misunderstood. He is not confused. He is deliberate. He is deceptive. He is dangerous. We had a really successful BRICS summit. Translation: I was praised. I was welcomed. I was accepted as part of the new power bloc. Meanwhile, unemployment in South Africa hovers near record highs. Rolling blackouts continue. Infrastructure crumbles. Youth hopelessness soars. Criminal syndicates rule the townships. This so-called success brought no immediate relief to ordinary citizens. No jobs, no food, no fuel. Instead, it brought tighter alignment with China, Russia, and Iran, the very regimes who benefit from South Africa's desperation and silence. This was not our success. It was his and theirs. There is growing interest from the global South. This phrase is used to quote authoritarian alignment in moral language. What he really means: we're forming a bloc with regimes that reject Western accountability, and we're dressing it up as empowerment. BRICS is not a fellowship of the oppressed. It is an economic and political fortress, driven by state control, elite preservation, and hostility toward free expression. Ramaphosa wants South Africa bound into this fortress. Quietly, irreversibly, and without your BRICS now accounts for over half of the world's population and 40% of global GDP. This is not statistical context. It's a flex, a warning, a threat. Underneath, we're big enough to reshape the world order. You better adjust. Ramaphosa wants you to believe this is strength. But BRICS' size masks its internal rot: censorship, oppression, war, stagnation. And South Africa is being dragged in for symbolic diversity and strategic cover, not shared prosperity. BRICS respects sovereignty and equality. This is a lie. China imposes digital tyranny and detains dissidents. Russia wages war and assassinates critics. Iran executes protesters and funds terrorism. And in South Africa, borders are weak. Ports are leased. Minerals are exported raw. Key sectors are sold off. Ramaphosa speaks of sovereignty while auctioning it to the highest bidder. He speaks of equality while keeping his own people in hunger, fear, and silence. We respect the standing of the United Nations. But immediately, he demands that the UN be restructured to suit BRICS. This is not respect. It's coordinated subversion. He wants permanent BRICS representation on the Security Council to shift global power away from democratic institutions. It's not about Africa having a voice, it's about BRICS controlling the room. Africa is not represented. He postures as a continental champion, but every agreement he signs tightens foreign grip over African land resources and policy. He does not speak for Africa. He speaks for China, Russia, and Iran, using Africa's face as their mask. We must ensure support for those affected by climate change. Eskom is broken. Green energy is blocked by ANC cronies. Billions are looted from public projects. Pollution continues. He lectures the world on clean energy while South Africans die in the dark. He has no credibility, only a script. We condemned the attack on Iran and called for a ceasefire in Gaza. No condemnation of Russia's brutal invasion of Ukraine, China's oppression of Uyghurs in Hong Kong, Hamas rocket fire on civilians. No word about daily murders in South Africa, hijackings, child trafficking, rape, farm killings. The SAP's collapse. He uses global conflict to show ideological loyalty to BRICS. He says nothing for his own citizens. His empathy is foreign. His silence is local. Conflicts in Africa must be solved by Africans. Yet foreign states control our infrastructure deals, shape our foreign policy, guide our energy future. This is North African solutions. It is foreign absorption, dressed in Pan-African. We want beneficiation for African minerals. Every year he repeats this. Every year nothing changes. Raw minerals leave. Local factories close. Chinese companies benefit. He sells nationalist language and delivers foreign control. There were no dissensions. There's no dissent because BRICS doesn't tolerate it. He celebrates fake unity in a room full of yes men. This is not consensus. It's controlled compliance, and he loves it. We want a fair and equitable world. And why side with countries that kill journalists, block elections, and disappear critics? He's not building fairness. He's building a shield to protect corruption and crush accountability. He wants equality for tyrants, not liberty for citizens. I was not aware of what the police commissioner said. This is treason by omission. General Mkwanazi publicly exposed. Political interference in the SOPs, deep-rotting cover-ups, internal threats to the justice system. And Ramaphosa, on camera to the world, claims ignorance. He had more to say about Iran than his own police force. More concern for Gaza than for Guguletu. This is unforgivable. This is betrayal in its purest form. We made an offer to the United States. He speaks in fog. What was offered? What was conceded? Who will pay? He won't say, because South Africans are no longer stakeholders. They are spectators. Everything is negotiable. Everything, except his loyalty to BRICS. Jobs? Tariffs? Trade? Falling rand? He gambles with the country's future like it's a token on a BRICS chessboard. History will catch up with those who resist unity. This is a coded threat. Translation: join BRICS or be left behind. He's no longer warning enemies. He's warning you, the citizens who still believe in democracy, freedom, and justice. Can I go home now? A joke, a chuckle. The mask drops. But home is burning. The people suffer. The country bleeds. And the man entrusted with its care is already on the plane, headed back to gated estates and air-conditioned offices where truth never enters. Final verdict: the double-tongued traitor. Cyril Ramaphosa does not represent South Africa. He represents BRICS, foreign control, elite interest, and authoritarian expansion. He speaks two languages, one of peace to the world, one of neglect to his people. He has betrayed your safety, your dignity, your economy, your voice, your future. He is not passive. He is not misguided. He is a man of deliberate betrayal. He smiles like a diplomat but acts like a dealer. He signs as a leader but rules as a proxy. He is not neutral, not balanced, not compromised. He is the enemy of the South African people, dressed in presidential suits and polished phrases. This article is based on the full transcript and recording of Cyril Ramaphosa's BRICS Summit address in July 2025. All statements are drawn directly from his own words, placed in context and tested against reality. This is not interpretation. This is exposure. Watch the speech, compare the facts. Ask yourself, who is he really working for? Not for you. Not for South Africa. He is a double-tongued traitor, and South Africa deserves better.
Oh, okay. No, thank you very much. We've had a really successful BRICS summit here in Brazil. President Lula, President of the Republic of Brazil, organized this summit rather excellently. And we also appreciated the fact that they invited other outreach countries to be part of this. And we keenly observed and appreciated the interest that is growing around the world, particularly in the global south, towards BRICS. We admitted a new member in BRICS, Indonesia, and we also admitted new BRICS partner countries. There is a lot of interest in the global south about being part of BRICS, which shows that BRICS continues to grow its voice, its reach, and by importance as well. It's become a fairly sizable BRICS community, which already accounts for more than half of the population of the world. more than a third, closer to 40% of the GDP of the world. That is a sizable community that continues to grow. So we appreciated that. We also appreciated the fact that through BRICS, we continue by respect, by recognition, to respect the sovereignty of countries and their equality, so we are all equal. And that is an important consideration because that leads to us cooperating on a number of areas. And indeed, through the declaration that was adopted, we covered a number of areas ranging from the governance of the world right through to issues like technical education. And on global governance, we continued to respect the existence and the standing of the United Nations, as well as to call for the reform of the United Nations structures, especially the Security Council, by ensuring that it becomes more representative. We observe that it is not acceptable that huge countries such as India, such as Brazil, are excluded from participating meaningfully. But more importantly for us, that the African continent, which has 1.3 billion people, is not represented in the United Nations Security Council. And we said that we should continue insisting, and we were rather pleased that there is agreement on the reform of the UN Security Council, even amongst those members of BRICS who are members of the Security Council. And we looked at a number of other important issues, such as climate change, that we need to ensure that the commitments that have been made with regard to climate change, particularly assisting and supporting countries that are most affected by climate change, which happen to be countries in the global south, countries that had very little responsibility for the climate damage that the world is going through now, should be assisted and supported through their transition to renewable energies. And that the countries that have made commitments, particularly in the global north, should live up to their commitments with regard to ensuring that we address the climate challenges that we are facing in the world. And so BRICS also dealt with a variety of issues, security matters, and on security matters, we collectively condemned the attack on countries such as Iran, which was done unilaterally, and continued to call for a ceasefire in Gaza so that the slaughter and the genocide of the Palestinians should be stopped. We also took time to look at what is happening in Sudan, the catastrophe that is unfolding there with people becoming displaced and many people dying. So that too was dealt with, and BRICS insisted that when it comes to our continent, African conflicts must be resolved through African solutions. And we were rather pleased that we also dealt with key issues such as how our critical minerals that come from largely African countries should be treated, that there should be beneficiation and there should be value addition. And this we as South Africa and Brazil articulated very strongly during the summit. So the summit in large measure was a successful one. And to have a summit of this size, adopting a declaration, just goes to prove the success thereof. And there were no dissensions, and we are particularly pleased with that. So it's a community of countries that want to see progress in the world, that want to see a fair and equitable world, where people of the world are treated fairly and equitably. And we also dealt with the issue of people-to-people contact, that the people in BRICS countries should be given the opportunity to be in contact with each other. So on that score and many other issues that were covered, BRICS, Rio de Janeiro, was very successful. So we leave with very fulfilled hearts, because it has added to many issues that will lead to the development of our world. There was also great appreciation and support for South Africa's coming G20, and in recognizing the importance of G20, that it encompasses so many countries in the world. We were wished great success, and we were greatly supported. And so as we depart, many countries said, bon voyage, we will see you in November in Johannesburg. Thank you. Well, I became aware of what President Trump tweeted, and I think there needs to be greater appreciation of the emergence of various centers of power in the world, as the declaration observed. And this should be seen in positive light rather than in a negative light. It should be seen as improving the governance of the world and enhancing good processes and policies that should help the development of humanity as a whole. So BRICS is such a center of power. And BRICS does not seek to compete with any other power. It recognizes the importance and the standing of other centers of power. It recognizes the standing of the United Nations and respects that, and subjects itself to the decisions of the United Nations. And it also recognizes the standing of a body like the G20. And so these powers should be seen as complementary, as advancing the interests of people. And so when a declaration, a beautiful declaration like the one that we adopted, should be seen in that it is beautiful and it is aimed at enhancing the interests of people globally. So there should never be vengeance, there should never be retribution against countries that are seeking to cooperate together and to advance the interests of humanity. There is nothing negative in the declaration, and there is everything about advancing the interests of various countries in the world, if not all, and the interests of people in the world, so that we leave no one behind. So it is really disappointing that when there is such a very positive collective manifestation such as BRICS, there should be others who see it in negative light and want to punish those who participate in this. It cannot be and should not be. We should be respecting the sovereignty of countries. We should be respecting that we are all equal, that all we should be focusing on is enhancing the prosperity of humanity and all countries. It cannot be that might should now be right, where in the end those who are more powerful are the ones who seek to have vengeance against those who are seeking to do good in the world. On the issue of the announcement, or better still, what the Police Commissioner of KZN, General Mkhwanazi, said, I was not aware of it, that it was coming, and obviously it is a matter that I will be dealing with when I get home. I will need to look at it more closely and have a thoroughgoing discussion with a number of people and thereafter there will be a clear way forward. This is not a matter that we should not give attention to. It is a serious matter. It has to do with the security of our people, but it also has to do with our adherence to the rule of law. The police play a critical role in enhancing the rule of law, the safety of South Africans, and that those who have done wrong should be dealt with, and should be dealt with thoroughly in terms of our constitution and our laws. So this matter is going to be addressed. On the issue of the looming deadline with regard to what President Trump announced, as South Africa, when we went to the White House, we started a process of engagement. And that process continues. The Minister of Trade and Industry and Competition continues to engage with his counterpart in the United States. And I am hopeful that we will be able to reach an understanding. We've made a clear proposal and offer to them, and they are examining that, and they will come back to us. Whether they are able to do so before Wednesday or soon after Wednesday, we will see. But everything is negotiable, and even timelines that are set are often either negotiable or stretched. So we are hoping for the very best when it comes to that. When it comes to the reform of the institutions, the global institutions such as the Security Council, we in the Global South, and particularly ourselves in Africa, we evolved a very clear position. The Ezulwini Consensus is really the framework that set us on a path of calling for the reform of the United Nations, particularly the Security Council. Now, that gave us a platform, that gave us a message and made our intention clear. And when we started, it was like we were whistling in the wilderness. It seemed like we were the only ones in the whole world who saw the need for the reform of the United Nations Security Council. The voices that support our framework have been rising and gathering momentum. And even those who did not even want to discuss the matter have now realized the importance and the efficacy of what we seek to achieve. So we're gaining more traction, we're gaining more attention, and the message is sinking in that the United Nations Security Council, which was set up as the United Nations was set up 80 years ago, cannot continue being the preferred governance system in the world, in a world that has changed. Because 80 years ago, the world was completely different from what it is today. The world is now driven by principles of good governance, is driven by principles of equality, recognition of each country's existence, of the sovereignty of nations, and it is also recognized by the drive for equality, that there should be equitable treatment of all nations. 80 years ago, that was not even thought of, but today, as I said, a number of countries are surging to the fore. And that is a good thing. That needs to be accepted. It needs to be embraced, that the world is becoming more and more diverse, but it is also becoming more and more united in many, many ways. So those who dissent from the unity and collective action that is being forged by many countries and global centers, which we all must embrace, are defining themselves out of history. And history will catch up with them, because this moment, which is now driven by digital transformation, artificial intelligence, democratic rule throughout many countries, requires that there should be good governance at a global level. And it should be good governance that enhances the lives of people around the world. Thank you. Can I go home now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.